Match 7, Biolante vs. Dagara, by Forrest Freud. The waters around Birth Island begin to turn a deep crimson red as thousands of bariums float to the surface, heralding the arrival of the bane of the depths, Dagara. The toxic beast emerges from the now polluted water around Birth Island and waddles towards the interior. In the sky above, something stirs, as if reacting to the toxic beast that now befouls the purity of Birth Island. Dagara becomes suddenly aware of a golden flashing in the sky, and it raises its grotesque head to examine the strange occurrence. As he does, the sky opens up and begins to rain golden dust in a gentle, hypnotic cloud, causing the corruptor to stop in his tracks and stare at the lovely sight. Purring slightly, Dagara is entranced as the beautiful golden snowflakes gently tumble down from the heavens. Then, the powder eventually vanishes as mysteriously as it appeared. Dagara stares in bewilderment as the enchanting display comes to an end. The tranquility of the scene is sudden. Let me repeat that. The tranquility of the scene is suddenly shattered as the earth begins to tremble, as though some great creature were moving below the ground. Dagara roars in surprise as the rumbling turns into shaking as long... Wow, I read that sentence terribly. Dagara roars in surprise as the rumbling turns into shaking, as long, snaking fissures open under his feet. Then he hears a moaning sound as the fissures break open and a long, thorny tendril emerges from the earth. Dagara begins to retreat towards the safety of the ocean, but when he turns to run, he finds the vine bind. Take bless, I cannot read. He finds the vines bind his leg. Roaring out in rage, Dagara tries to wrestle free of the bindings. In the midst of his struggle, he hears another great surge from under the ground. Turning his head, he watches in mute shock as the ground literally explodes outward and a mammoth head emerges. Biolante, goddess of the earth, has arrived. Pass.
That'd actually be a pretty interesting idea. Biolante being one of the
Barium.
guardian monsters.
Barium. That's gonna bug me because
Also, yeah, bariums. What is that? Is that an element?
Barium is an element.
Really?
Yeah. Barium.
Wow.
Biolante roars at a challenge.
Real quick, I think that's supposed to be bariums.
Okay,
go ahead.
Let's get our cameras out of the way first, boys. Biolante roars at a challenge to the toxic worm she has entrapped in her tendrils, demanding that he leave this pure place and never return. Dagara roars defiantly, refusing to leave. Then, opening his mouth, the toxic one fires a crimson and ebony beam of light at the tendrils binding him. The beam severs the vines, releasing a hissing spray of burning green fluid into the air. Biolante growls in anger and sends another swarm of tendrils after the corrupted one as he retreats towards the ocean. Her tendrils emerge from the ground, clamping their jaws onto the corrupt one's legs. Biolante gives a purr of pleasure as Dagara is dragged to the ground and hauled back towards her. Dagara, assigned to take the offensive, takes to the air and yanks free of the choking tendrils the earth goddess tried to bind with him. Turning, he flees back towards Biolante, roaring in anger. Then he opens his mouth and fires his Irabusum beam to his opponent. The bolt of energy rakes her across the top of her enormous alligator-like head, searing his scaly leaves. Does Biolante have leaves?
I don't think so.
Biolante snarls in pain, but otherwise does not seem to be adversely affected by the attack. Dagara, confused, fires another beam, as well as a volley of bariums from his shoulder cannons. The beam rakes across Biolante's body, but once again fails to have any discernible impact on her. Yet, when the bariums strike, the small patches where they make contact seem to shrivel a bit. Pass.
Bylante, not wanting to take another hit from the burning particles shot by the Toxic One, lashes out at him with her spiked tendrils. Seeming to take him out of the sky, Bylante strikes him with a group of decoy tendrils, seeking to divert the Toxic One into her spear-tipped trap. Dagahra, seeing Bylante's shocking tendrils approaching, banks hard. The flailing lashes sail past him, but the sense of victory is short-lived as the Toxic One feels a burning, stabbing pain bursts through his right wing. As he turns his head to see what has happened, he is violently tugged out of the sky as Bylante viciously pulls her tendril in. Dagahra crashes into the ground with a sickening thud, blood erupting from his nostrils. As he lifts his head, he looks over at the spot where he felt the stabbing pain. With a groan of despair, he realizes that the Earth Goddess has torn a hole in his right wing, disabling his ability to fly. Yet, he doesn't completely lose hope as he notices that his shoulder cannon is still intact, which means he can still use his bariums to attack Bylante. Regaining his footing, Dagahra rises and turns to face the Earth Goddess. Bylante, seeing the Toxic One rise, begins to advance on him. More tendrils emerge from the earth around the Toxic One. The Toxic One responds to the act by firing his energy beam at the vine, severing them, yet Bylante refuses to let him escape and continues to send more vines after the Toxic One. Dagahra, surrounded on all sides by the vines, and he's seeing Bylante advancing, decides to try and play his trump card. Crouching low on the ground, he begins to spin in place. As he does, a maelstrom begins to form around his twirling form. Soon the cyclone fully engulfs him, and he opens his shoulder cannons, releasing a stream of bariums into the tempest. Lifting off the ground, he charges towards Bylante. Bylante, seeing the Toxic One forming a corrupted cyclone of poison and acid, opens her maw. As Dagahra closes it energy arcs towards the center of her mouth. Then, when the tempest is almost within striking range, she vomits forth a stream of her own acidic blood. Directing the stream into the cyclone, Bylante drenches the Toxic One in his foul spawn in her purifying sap. Dagahra falls from his cyclone, corroding bariums falling all around him. Bylante begins to advance on her prone foe. When she comes within reach, she lowers her jaw and bites down on the Toxic One's head, driving the hundreds of sword-like teeth that line her maw into the body of the foul one path.
Suddenly awake, Dagahra realizes where he is, and how close he is to losing the fight. Realizing that he may only have one more shot at defeating the Earth Goddess, Dagahra opens his shoulder cannons and fires a volley of bariums at the Earth Goddess. His toxic pets strike his foe, who gives off a satisfying cry of pain as her grip lessens. Digging his heels into the ground, Dagahra pulls as hard as he can, tearing himself free of the Earth Goddess's maw. Yet at the cost of his high? Yet the cost is high. Oh, okay. Yet the cost is high as he loses a good deal of flesh on the bladed jaws of Bylante. Screaming out in pain, Dagahra turns and begins to retreat towards the ocean once again. Bylante watches as the Toxic One begins to retreat. Refusing to allow the vile beast to escape, Bylante sends several dozen mouth tendrils through the ground, which emerge from below the Toxic One, clamping onto him and pinning him to the soil. As the Toxic One roars out in pain, Bylante decides to land the finishing blow. Underground, her spiked tendrils meet up and braid themselves into a single massive spike. Summoning all her strength, Bylante drives the spike upward, impaling the Toxic One on its tip and lifting him into the air, while still pulling down with the tendril she grabbed him with. Dagahra screams in pain as he is skewed on Bylante's tendril, his foul blood falling to the ground in a grisly shower. Dagahra stops moving and Bylante releases her grip. Then, snapping her tendril, flings the corpse into the ocean. As the water engulfs the body of its tormentor, Bylante looks on with detached pleasure. As the last traces Dagahra sink beneath the waves, Bylante dissolves to her golden pollen form and floats up into the sky. Winner, Bylante. So, that match, guys.
Pretty good, though, of course, still more spelling errors.
Right. So plenty of
I think I read some of that like someone reading out numbers for an auction.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I think
Like,
I think my reading voice is pretty good for that one.
fair enough. But
It was okay. It was okay.
okay. But
Compared to Banner's, whoa! Step up your
Yours
game,
is great,
man.
though. Yours is great though. Your reading voice though.
I'm easily the worst out of the three.
I'm like,
Shucks.
oh,
But
you're not
Shucks.
bad,
yeah, the
Kaiser.
match.
Some pronunciation a bit more.
Yeah, the match itself is. Yeah, I don't know. It just feel it.
It's okay.
It's okay at best.
I feel like if you redid it now, it would be way better.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think there would have been a lot more uniqueness emphasized with Biollante and Dagara respectively, because it does just kind of feel like, oh hey, they shoot beams and stab each other with tendrils.
Actually, I'm.
Beam spam.
Maybe this is the KWC rule. I don't know. This is a self-imposed rule when I write matches. For KWC, I always, if there's a power, I must include at least the uses of every power, at least one.
Yeah, the match just feels like just kind of like, oh, it's Biollante and Dagara, so we're just going to use some of their abilities and just kind of get a move on with it. So it doesn't really feel like they've been utilized to the full potential, but it's just kind of like a...
I just feel like there could be a lot more to be desired.
I think that's also the thing with these early matches, too, that there's a lot more to be desired from them. But
it is killing me.
It murders us.
Right. So that...
Hold on, I'm getting a call. Hold on. Do the outro.
Telephone! Told us to do the outro. Just do it.
Right. So that was Biollante versus Dagara, and we will see you guys in match number 8. Baragon Showa versus Gezora. See you then.
Yay.